is one aspect of it is I do a lot of quotes. So the customer will want to purchase equipment like a switch and a router, and what I'll do is I'll go and actually configure it, which meaning you choose all the little small components like what type of licenses it should have, what type of modules or transceivers and such. Do that for a whole line of different vendors for a whole line of different products, not just routing and switching from Cisco. We also have Juniper and WebSense and IronPort. So I'll do that whole variety of vendors. Apart from that, my main responsibility at my job is I run the eval process. Customers will want to actually demo an appliance, and so what I do is I go in and we have a meeting. We prepare for the demo. I go in, I install the demo equipment, whatever it is. Could be a switch or a router, like I said earlier. They have it for 30 days. I make sure to keep constant communication with the customer throughout that whole process. And then at the end of 30 days is usually how long our eval period is. I go back, wrap things up with the customer, remove the appliance, and then they choose whether or not they want to purchase the actual appliance. Other than that, I have other little smaller responsibilities and other projects that I'm involved in, but mainly that is my day-to-day activities. The main reason for my role in this company is that we have what are called solutions architects. I guess you can consider them like the gurus. For my role in this company is that we have what are called solutions architects. I guess you can consider them like the gurus. And basically what they do is they do what I'm doing, but now I'm offloading the eval process and all the bill of materials and the quoting part. They go out on sales calls with customers just discussing design and such. So I'm pretty much offloading a lot of the responsibilities that they had before I came on board. So it's pretty exciting. I love it.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about your story, Alex. What were you doing before you came across LANWAN Professional?
I've always been kind of I've always been kind of computer savvy. I had like a year of experience in the IT industry, but nothing. I didn't have any credentials. I didn't have any certifications. Something that would allow me to actually, to grow and to move up. And so basically, I found LANWAN Professional while I was searching for a job. I saw the program and I saw it was an excellent credentials. So basically, I've always been kind of I've always been kind of computer savvy. I had like a year of experience in the IT industry, but nothing. I didn't have any credentials. I didn't have any certifications. Something that would allow me to actually, to grow and to move up. And so basically, I found LANWAN Professional while I was searching for a job. I saw the program and I saw it was an excellent opportunity for me to get the education that I did need to achieve a dream that I had. And so I gave them a call, and now here I am.
So, how has your life changed? I mean, I didn't know that about you, that you were having degrees and found yourself jobless. How has your life changed since coming through LANWAN Professional and working in the job that you're working now?
Debt collectors calling me all the time. What do you tell them when you don't have any money? And then you got to borrow money. So life was it was pretty low. But I kind of couldn't really drive anywhere because I didn't have any money. So it was just a lot of free time going on in there. But I guess that also helped me. That helped me achieve what I needed to with LANWAN Professional, because there's a lot of studying that you have to do and a lot of prep work. Then the boot camp that you have to prepare to go to, and then all the time that you need to look for a job. So, but it benefited me in the end. But yeah, quality of life was just pretty much just not really much you could do in debt. Had debt collectors calling me all the time. What do you tell them when you don't have any money? And then you got to borrow money. So life was pretty low. But I kind of feel like I went from the bottom, and all of a sudden now I'm at the top. Like I used to be drowning in an ocean, just dying to get breath at the very, very surface, and now I'm flying.
When you were looking, before you came to LANWAN Professional, had you looked anywhere else to complete your training? Or did you just come across LANWAN Professional and go for it?
For this, and then and then like I said, the interview training. That's not really something that I'm not aware of that you can just call up somebody and be like, "Hi, I need interview training." I mean, the only way you really get that is either through something like LANWAN Professional or going out there and getting interviews. But if you're not getting interviews and you don't have the credentials that you need to learn and understand uh, to get into the industry, and it's not just all technical. A lot of it had to do also with professionalism and how you present yourself. The interview training was critical to the whole process. Um, but yeah, LANWAN Professional. I saw that, and because the way it was set up in the description of their program, I felt that that was best. It was actually worth investing money in it, mainly because it, to me, it was like it came as a suite. And what I mean by that is instead of having different components like go to a class, get certification, and then go somewhere else to find another certification for this, and then and then like I said, the interview training. That's not really something that I'm not aware of that you can just call up somebody and be like, "Hi, I need interview training." I mean, the only way you really get that is either through something like LANWAN Professional or going out there and getting interviews. But if you're not getting interviews and you don't have the credentials to even get an interview, then you're not really getting practice like that as well. So, but before that, like I said, there was nothing else I really looked at. But I saw the value in the investment, a good investment in LANWAN Professional. So that's why I went this route.
I mean, you kind of answered some of the questions I had already as far as what was the most beneficial ways that LANWAN Professional helped you become placed in your current position. Are th are there any other things that stick out to you as far as from in training or even at camp? Any things in particular that you can really put your finger on and say, I absolutely needed this. This was instrumental in getting the job.
So camp, I loved camp. Camp was great. I think it was eye opening. If you think about it, it was exactly like what y'all call it, a boot camp. I mean, you're there. From my experience, we were there from like 7 o'clock in the morning to like 12 at night, just studying, and doing assignments or just working on some sort of exam that y'all you would give us to do testing and stuff like that to make sure that we were actually understanding and the information was actually sticking. And so it was also great because you're there with a small, select group of people from all over the United States. So, and you're with them really closely. You're sleeping in the same house with them and such. So it's kind of like everybody's motivating each other, just being in each other's presence, and then you got a competitive spirit that's there as well. And so it's nice to be in a place where you're totally removed from any distractions outside of what you're there to do. And I think that focus is really what makes you or breaks you. Um, like I think the biggest thing or word of advice that I could give anybody who are thinking about going to the program or are in the program currently, that it's tough for a reason. Yeah. So the biggest thing I would say is that yeah, it's meant to be tough, and there's a reason for it, because they're preparing you for going out into an industry where that's mainly, and I'm talking about the higher echelon type of positions, or filled with people who have had anywhere from 5 to 7 to 10 years of experience, and just try to walk in and at a base level to try to get a position like that is your chances are very limited. So I feel like the toughness of the boot camp relates to how you should be prepared, and I'm talking about mentally prepared, as far as attitude, as far as determination, um, as far as going out there and being successful and finding a job. And I think the boot camp really ingrains that into your head because, like I said, it's just nonstop, just about 24/7, just being soaked in IT and in knowledge. And if you can make it through that, you can make it anywhere. And that's how I look at it, because it's a lot of work, but that work definitely pays off, and it has in mind.
What do you think for you and your classmates? It sounds like there was quite a bit of camaraderie when you were at camp, and you probably got to know them really well. What do you think might have been the biggest stumbling block for a majority of your classmates for them getting employed, just as a person who was there and knowing their stories?
The biggest thing is consistency and determination. Like I said, um, when you leave boot camp, and this happens in all sorts of uh, different aspects in life, but you go to something that's really, really, I guess, thrilling and really exciting and motivating, and you come back and you're all excited and you're just all amped up and ready to rock and roll, and you're like that maybe for like the first 2 weeks, and after a while you're not seeing the results that you expected or that you want, and then you start losing that motivation, that drive to stay consistent as far as your approach and your attack on trying to get a job. And I think that's the biggest stumbling block, because you're no longer around those people who that you were leaning on for support. Um, you're at home by yourself. No one's there to tell you, hey, keep it up, stay strong. So it requires a certain mindset and preparation once returning from camp, um, in order to be successful in finding a job and just getting an interview. It took me 3 months, which is actually longer than usually expected. Um, and yeah, I went through those times too as well, where I was kind of slacking myself and thinking, oh well, this isn't working out. Maybe it was a bad idea. But at the end of the day, what isn't like that? Everything is a challenge in life, and the greatest things in life are usually the most challenging. But that either, like I said, either makes you or break you, and you got to make a really really core decision, to yourself, of whether or not I'm going to do this, or am I going to finish this race, or am I just going to quit halfway there? And I think that was the biggest stumbling block for those who did make it and those who didn't make it.
Now that you've been in the IT field for a while, how did you feel the training prepared you as far as technically speaking for your position?
Yeah, the training was perfect. It totally prepared me for what I'm doing. Like I said, the routing and switching is the foundation. It's the core of everything that you do in networking. If you don't understand that, then you won't understand everything else that plays a role in in networks these days. It's not just routing and switching. You got other things like secure gateways and different types of proxies for different types of services and such. But the education that I got and the training that I got from LANWAN Professional, I like the fact I got hands-on training. I got the CD equipment, which is a very, very big thing if you think about it. And if you don't, once you get into the field and someone says, hey, what's a switch? And you don't know what a switch even looks like, then there's a problem, right? But no, but not just that, but also um, being able to apply that knowledge to certain situations. And the great thing that I really, really liked about LANWAN's training is that we would learn, we would learn a section of information over a certain subject, but then y'all would follow it up with like different scenarios that like different like tests and stuff like that, or a situation where you had us go through and configure our own network, or pretty much apply everything that we learned, but in a real life situation. I mean, we did it remotely. That was the great thing, is that I was able to do it from the comfort of my home. I would just uh, I would just remotely connect to one of their pods, training pods, and was able to configure routers and um, you know configure access lists, and work with natting and such like that. But I think that was the best thing, is the fact you get hands on in it. So once you go into the actual industry, you're not just paper certified. You're not just, hey, all the knowledge is here, but I've never actually done it. You have hands on skills that you can actually reflect based off that training.
What did you think of your mentor, and who was your mentor, and did that help you as you went through the process of becoming certified in your job placement?
That was my mentor was Tyler Sheridan, and yeah, he helped me a lot. Helped me stay on track. Would call me constantly, making sure that I had all the information that I needed, that I was staying up to date on everything and staying on track. And a really big thing that he helped me out with one time was while I was at camp, uh, he showed me how to set up what was it Google voicemail, which I had no idea about. But it really is a big thing because if you have you have your own personal phone, you can have your own personal greeting, but then at the same time, you know um, if you have an employer call you for an interview, it's kind of nice to have uh, a different phone number to provide an employer so that they get a whole different voicemail system, and also at the same time, um, that they're calling you because that's the only phone number you're giving out. So I know that's kind of seems small, but it really, again, it comes down to the professionalism in preparing yourself to be successful, not just technically, but also just overall.
Are there any other things that pop out into your mind in ways that maybe you were prepared professionally to enter into the field?
Like I said earlier, the interview training was huge. And there's a lot to it. It's not just, hey, these are the questions you should expect, so be ready for them. But it's also a manner of how you hold yourself and how even how you dress. I mean, they got even so technical to where they were saying, hey, you live on the East Coast, you should wear this sort of suit with pinstripes or whatever. But if you're down south in Texas, you gotta wear these certain colors. So it's little stuff like that you don't know, but I mean that is the stuff that people know that empower them to be able to go out and and actually have a chance in an interview. Not just get the interview, but go to interview and actually try to get a second interview. I think another great thing was also the resume building was amazing. Um, I don't know who does the resumes right now, but uh, my resume looks amazing, and I wouldn't have ever gotten it to that level if it wasn't for somebody sitting down with me that knew what they were doing and helped me go through it and chiseling it out into a masterpiece. So, and then also the fact that they provide you all the avenues in which to look for a job. So, I mean, they gave me a list of job search engines that I've never even heard of, had no idea about. Um, and I think on top of that, also they stay on you. LANWAN Professional stays on you because you want to be successful. They know you want to be successful because you invest a lot of money in it. So they push you to be successful. By requiring you to do so many, put in so many hours looking for a job and putting out so many resumes and such. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, you either going to have to push yourself, or it's nice to have sort of mommy, coming up behind you and say, hey, did you clean your room? Did you do this? It's the same thing. It's nice to have somebody to keep you accountable for what you're going through. Especially during that time when you come back from boot camp. There's nobody. You don't have these people who are just on fire. They're just ready to rock and roll, and you come back and really don't have nothing. So that's when the mentor kicks in. And you're able to have somebody you can reach out to maintain focus.
I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit about your experience with Eric Choi and maybe what your thoughts are on him.
Eric is an awesome guy. He's an awesome guy. I mean, he's just brilliant. Um, he has all his ducks in a row, and he presents himself well, really professional, and he's one of those guys who are really genuine. He really does care. That's You're not just a paycheck to him. You're not just revenue for him. That he actually cares about your future and what you may be going through at the time, and he's very understanding at that. I've had excellent conversations with Eric. He really inspired me in a lot of ways. Just it was nice to know somebody of his caliber. Um, you know, show interest in me as a person, and really bring shed light skills and talents that I had no idea I had. But he was able to spot those out and was able to direct me in the right way. Like the pre-sales engineer, um, he pushed me towards that route in the beginning. Like he's the one who even told me about it and said, "Hey, this will work for you," and I had no idea about that. And so, and the same thing, like when I got my job, I came on as a technology analyst, which and then after the first week I was there, I met a solutions architect and I told him, "Hey, I want to be just like you one of these days." Next thing I know it, I get pulled into a room by my boss and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be a pre-sales engineer?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, all right, cool." So I mean, Eric, his enthusiasm and his passion for what he does, not just the IT field, but he's molding people, to become better and to have better lives. And when you see that when you see that in somebody, you just gotta respect that person.
That's awesome. I was going to say a lot of us who know Eric and who have worked with him definitely know that of him. It's good to have other people share that, though. That's really good. Thank you. Um, I know you've touched a lot on all of this, but I'm going to ask again. How has LANWAN Professional impacted your life professionally? And you kind of mentioned that you've already kind of been promoted, is what it sounds like, since you've been there. How has that happened, and what are you looking for? What are you aspiring to down the road?
Yeah, life is so much better. I mean, when I come home now, and still live with my parents, but I'm saving money. Got to start somewhere. So, um, but when I come home, my mom has a smile on her face now. Because for a year and a half, she didn't like me so much because she was pretty much taking care of me all over again. Paying the bills and stuff. But no, and then my parents are a lot happier with me now, and I can do a lot more now and go out with my friends. Um, I can buy things that I've always wanted, and well, not everything I've always wanted, but things that are affordable, still within my reach. But and then also just being able to be independent, and I think that's one of the most important things in life is eventually become independent, be self-sufficient. As far as my future, I eventually want to become a solutions architect. I'm actually perfectly positioned right now to eventually take on that role. I've been, this industry. I've been with this company for 10 months now, and there's certain requirements that you have to meet in order to be given that title. And one of those requirements is for all the other solutions architects to say, "Hey, we feel like you are qualified to become one of us." So I kind of feel like that, like I'm going to become knighted right now. I'm a squire, just learning, all the the responsibilities that of a solutions architect. So like I said, right now it's a perfect position because I'm doing all I'm offloading a lot of things that the things that they have to do. So I'm already kind of like, I feel like I'm three-fourths of the way of becoming a solutions architect. I hope to take on that role and be given that name or title within about 6 months from now. I think I'll be ready to rock and roll, which is it's amazing because they provide me with all the training in the world. I mean, I have anything that I want, any sort of training and product, and they pay for it all, and and it benefits them as well for me to be knowledgeable in those certain aspects. So, long story short, solutions architect, I'm almost there.
A lot of times, what I've heard on my end is that the success stories of candidates who have come through LANWAN Professional are just too good to be true. But there's no way that this can happen. And you're one of those stories, Alex. Like, I heard your story being told by Eric and other people when I first came. I was like, what? No way. A lot of people hear that. So since you're one of those stories, I mean, when others hear of your success, or even to the people here who hear of your success, and that you've had it in such a short amount of time, how do you explain it? What would your response be to those people? Because a lot of people are very skeptical.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I wasn't. There's 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 nothing. I'll put it this way for the people who maybe try to look at things like that. Um, I didn't make straight A's in high school. It was kind of like a B. C student, sometimes an F, but I always brought those up. That's how I got here. Eventually, passed all my schools. Anyways, but it's just determination. I mean, you just gotta know. Okay, so what I did is basically I took a poster and I put, it was a collage of all the things that I wanted to achieve in life. It was something I learned from a book, and every day I look at that poster, and I look at all the things on it that I wanted, and I would tell myself, "That's my car, that's my phone, that's my house." I put a picture of a guy working on a computer, so that's my job, even though I didn't want to actually be working on computers. I wanted do more advanced things, but so mainly I just kept those things in mind always, every day, constantly. So even the times where I was, feeling down, I was feeling, weak and emotionally stressed. I just look at that and I know that in order to have those great things, I got to pay the price. I got to work hard, and so I'm not some sort of whiz kid. I just put a lot of effort into it. I put a lot of focus on it. I read when I knew I had to read something, no matter how much it was. The thing is, hard work pays off, and that's how you have to look at it. Nobody's perfect. Nobody knows everything. But the most successful people in the world are just people who never quit. And if you quit, then you're never going to know if you were going to be successful or not. And it's all about running all the way through the finish line.
If you had met someone who was considering LANWAN Professional or looking to change their career or whatever you have, their motivation, what would your advice be to them?
Well, my advice would be to them is, just take a moment, ask yourself what you want, and then ask yourself, what am I willing to do to get that, which I want, and see if that lines up with what LANWAN Professional has to offer you. And it has a lot to offer, and it does. It is the automobile that's going to lead you to success. The question is, do you want to hop on that ride? Do you want to go wherever it's going to take you, or are you still going to stick your thumb out and look for a ride? Because that's not going to happen. But I would tell them to go for it, and that it's an excellent program, that it will prepare you to get to, a place like where I'm at. But it's very difficult to do that on your own, and with the resources that LANWAN Professional has to provide, it's just like the perfect situation, the perfect scenario.
Alex, I always like to give people an open mic at the end. I mean, you've answered all the questions I've had. Is there anything that you would like to say? I mean, here's your chance.
I would just say, hey, stay positive. I mean, that's the whole game. That is the whole. I think that's the trick to all of this. Is know what you want. Um, Put it on a poster. Look at it every day, and look at it. And say, that's mine, and I'm gonna get that. And then you have to tell yourself, I'm willing to do this or that to get what I want, and know that if you don't follow those steps, if you don't do those things that you have to do to get those things, then you can't kick yourself for not achieving those things. So what I would say is, take those goals, take all those dreams, and put them on paper, and manifest them in front of you so you can always see them. Because whenever you do achieve them, you can just start marking them off, or you can start writing on them, I got it. I achieved it. This is now mine. And then you always keep updating that collage, because your dreams and your aspirations should never end, and they should always be visible to you. And I think that will give you success, not just in the IT industry, but in life in general.